neck and on his hands. If your father touches you, you will feel like Esau, and your father will not notice anything, she whispered to him. So Jacob went to his father with the food, and Rebekah got her way. Blind Isaac blessed Jacob and promised him all his property. When Esau returned from hunting and saw what had happened, he became very angry. With bitter tears, he begged his furious father to bless him too. But Isaac couldn't bless him because he had already given his blessing to Jacob. This made Esau even angrier, and he swore a bitter revenge on his brother. He promised himself that after his father had died, he would kill Jacob. When Rebekah heard of his plans, she said to Jacob, "You must leave quickly. Your brother wants to kill you. I will ask your father to send you to my brother Laban's home. You should choose one of his daughters as a wife for yourself. We will wait until Esau is not so angry and has forgotten what you did. Then I will send for you." Rebekah had a guilty conscience about her idea to trick Esau, and she went to Isaac and said to him, "Dear husband, I want to send Jacob to my brother Laban's. He should choose a wife from among our own people. Give him your blessing for this journey. You know how I dislike the Hittite women who live around here." Isaac agreed to his wife's plans, and so Jacob set off on a long journey with his father's blessing.
Jacob and the Stairway to Heaven. Jacob had already been travelling for many weeks. It was a difficult journey, and he hoped to reach the city of Haran soon. He wanted to see some other people again, but above all, he was curious about his uncle Laban and his daughters. When the sun rose, Jacob got up and walked for the whole day. But in the evenings he looked for a comfortable place to sleep. One evening, Jacob was especially tired, and he just wanted to go to sleep. He quickly found himself a stone for a pillow and lay down under a large tree. He said a prayer to God, asking him for his help. And then, as he was watching the stars in the sky, he fell fast asleep. That night, Jacob had a strange dream in which he saw a stairway resting on the ground with its top reaching up to heaven, and the angels of the Lord were going up and down it. Suddenly, a bright light shone at the top of the stairway in heaven, and God himself appeared. Jacob heard the voice of God, who said, "I am the Lord, the God of your grandfather Abraham, and the God of your father Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land that you are lying on. Your descendants will spread all over the land. From north to south and east to west, they will own everything. All the peoples of the earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. But I will protect you especially. Wherever you go, I will go with you, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you." The next morning, as he woke up, Jacob remembered his dream and thought to himself, "God must truly live in this place. This is a holy place and the gateway to heaven." Then he took a stone which he had used as a pillow, stood it up and smeared some oil over it. Jacob wanted it as a memorial, to remind him that God had appeared in this place, which he named Bethel, the home of God. And Jacob made a promise to God. If I return to my family safe and sound, I will build a house on the place of this stone, and it will be the house of God. And I will give you 1/10 of everything I possess.
Jacob and Rachel. Jacob continued eastwards on his journey, and one day he finally did see some people. By a well, very near to the city of Haran, he came across some shepherds with their sheep and goats. "Hello, where do you come from? Do you know my uncle Laban?" Jacob asked the shepherds. "Of course we know Laban. Look, here comes his daughter Rachel," they answered Jacob, and pointed to a girl who was coming to the well with her flock of sheep. Once they were all together, Jacob pushed the heavy stone away from the mouth of the well and watered Rachel's sheep. He looked at Rachel with curiosity. She was very pretty, and he liked her from the very first look. Then he kissed her and wept tears of joy. After so many months of traveling, he had finally found his relatives. Rachel was very happy as Jacob explained that he was the son of her Aunt Rebecca. She ran home excitedly as she wanted to tell her father the news straight away. Laban shared her excitement, and he ran towards Jacob, hugging and kissing him. "Come into my house and stay with us, and we will give you food since you belong to our family," Laban told him. So Jacob did stay at his uncle's house. After several weeks had passed, Laban said to Jacob, "You are a very good worker, but you should not be working for nothing. What payment would you like?" And Jacob answered his uncle with a promise. "If you allow me to marry Rachel, I will work here for 7 years for you." And Laban agreed to his proposal. Jacob worked for 7 long years for his uncle, but the time seemed to fly by because he was so in love with Rachel. Finally, the time came and the wedding was celebrated. But Jacob was bitterly disappointed when he saw in the morning that the veiled bride wasn't his beloved Rachel, but her older sister Leah. He became very angry. He had been tricked, and instead of Rachel, he had married Leah. Jacob demanded what was rightfully his from Laban, but his uncle answered him, "It is an old tradition of ours that the eldest sister must marry before the younger one. But according to this custom, you can have more than one wife. If you want to marry Rachel too, you will have to work for another 7 years." So Jacob decided to carry on working for his cunning uncle. Then, after another 7 years, Jacob finally did marry Rachel, and he was very happy with her. He stayed yet another 7 years at his uncle's, and because of his hard work and his cleverness, he became very rich. His 2 wives, Leah and Rachel, had many children, but Jacob and Rachel especially loved their first son, Joseph.
How Joseph came to Egypt. Jacob, who was called Israel by everyone because God had given him this name, was once again living with his whole family in the land of Canaan. The last of his sons, little Benjamin, was born here. Jacob was very happy about this, but he had wept bitterly because Rachel had died after she had given birth to Benjamin. This meant that Benjamin and his brother Joseph had to live with their 10 half-brothers. But the bigger brothers didn't get on at all well with Joseph. They didn't want him with them. They were jealous of him because he was their father's favourite and had been especially spoilt. Instead of helping with the work in the fields, Joseph preferred to sit in the grass and daydream. When they came home, Joseph immediately told his father all the bad things they had done. The brothers